everybody, thanks for tuning in to today's little lesson here. I wanted to talk again, which has been kind of a common theme of mine, is the open string stuff, because I think sometimes it gets underrated or overlooked as very useful ways of doing things. And so I thought I'd get into a bit more of that to really stress the fact that you can really find a lot of cool ways to use these, and they're not as limited as I used to think they were a little limiting to certain keys and certain styles of music. But I found that not to be true. There's so many places you can find open string scales and licks and arpeggios. And especially if you're a finger stylist, they're easier to do than an actual straight ahead scale at times. So I thought I'd explain a little more about these couple of different licks there. A couple of them are based on the harmonic minor or / diminished kind of approach, which I find really cool in the key of A minor. It's an A minor that goes to E major. So the E major is going to introduce the A flat note, and that's going to give us the opportunity to fit in the harmonic minor, or sometimes just a straight diminished will also be just fine over that chord as well. But the one I'm going to use here is an open string harmonic minor lick in a couple of different positions. So it's two licks different. And then a couple of arpeggios, E7 dominant and an E minor kind of lick. So the first thing I want to explain that's quite important about this particular approach is how we're going to pick this. So I'm using the thumb pick, but I'll explain it with a flat pick as well. So the lick I think is important to get done first is this little pentatonic lick, because it uses the technique that I'm referring to. And before I start this too, I got to give a shout out to Emil because I learned and he inspired me to really pursue more of these open string licks. Plus, he had a lot of them available on one of his guitar tutorials, Open String Licks Volume 1, and there's a Volume 2 as well. But if you go to Emil at proguitar.com, those are really valuable little courses you can purchase, very reasonably priced. And the one has 48 open string licks on Volume 1 of those. And there's a lot of them. So I'm just giving you a couple of, one of these I kind of came up with from his tutorial that made me realize how I can find these. And the arpeggio is actually something I saw him use on another video he did, which I'll explain when I get to it. So first I want to explain, you want to be able to pick this pentatonic lick. This is the example really of what I'm saying here, is the way you're going to pick this is going to be similar for some of these other licks. So what I'm doing here is it's a pentatonic with a blue note, and it's going to start up here like this. You're going to use index finger, so I'll explain the picking here. Index finger, and then go to your pentatonic note here, and then open E. So that's index, thumb, middle finger. Now here I'm going to go to the blue note of the pentatonic blues scale, and then I'm going to go 4th fret, 7, open B. And again, that's index, pick, middle finger. Now we get to our pentatonic notes, simply 5th and 7th fret. So index, thumb, middle finger to an open G, index, thumb, open D. And then here you can go do this and then repeat the A note as you resolve. Like that. And once you get that picking down, it is very comfortable to do other licks with it. I'll explain it now with a flat pick. So the only thing that's going to change here is you're going to do middle finger and 3rd finger. So it'd be middle finger, pick, 3rd finger. So everything else is going to look the same except the picking. And just to be honest with you on this one and some of these, I got used to doing the thumb pick first. So I did eventually incorporate it into using a flat pick. When I'm playing gigs and I'm using a pick, I'm not going to try to grab my thumb pick. So I got some of these comfortable with a flat pick. And of course, you can get really used to doing them like that. So let's get to some of the licks here now. So, but that's the picking. Very important to kind of understand where that's coming from. So the first one I did here, I'll play it again. This one here. Or something like that. Sometimes I vary it. I'll do it one more time. That kind of thing. So that's really a harmonic minor kind of scale. You know, just kind of that's what it is. So I'll show you what I'm doing there. I'm going 4th fret, 6th fret, open. So you can see that's the picking that's going to be used for that was out of that pentatonic. So 4th fret, 6th fret, open E. Then we go to the B string, 3rd fret. Then 7th on the G, open B string. So we got that. Now go down to the 2nd fret. I'm going to slide down to the 1st. And then I'm going to go to the D string 3rd fret. And then I'm going to play this. I don't want to play an open G note there. That's not part of the scale. So as I get down here, go back to the 1st. Then I'm going to play 2nd, 3rd on the A, open D string. 2nd, 4th, open A, and then I go to F, open E, like that, something like that. And you can make that shorter too. Sometimes I take the F out because it'll come out as an even. That I didn't put the F in there, but you can put it in and extend the lick a bit, but that's it like that. And that's the first one, okay? So again, you'll see the picking is very useful if you understand how that goes. And keep in mind, of course, the diminished scale will be another alternative to playing over this E major chord here. So you can kind of get an idea of some of those. So sometimes I can combine the diminished with the harmonic minor because they're very much of the same family of sound. So there. Second one I did was up here. I'll try playing this again here. Like that. So that approach to that one, that starts up here. And again, it's still based off a kind of a, this is almost a little bit more diminished. So go up to the 10th fret. It's a pull off to the 7. Then we're going to go to 9, and then 10, and then an open E string. So that's a little diminished triad right there. So I pull off, go down to the little triad, play open E, then 7th fret on the G string, open B string, then to the D and A string, so that's 6 and 8. Open D, and then 3 and 4, open A, F, E, and A, like that. So there's a couple of different ways you can shorten that one too. Or I might go like that if I'm just doing a straight measure. Whoops. So that's the other one. Again, picking is very similar, but slightly different because there's a couple of times here where it's a bit different, but that just gets comfortable after you play these for a while. So that's a couple of nice diminished / harmonic minor you can play over the E chord in the key of A minor. Now, a cool arpeggio that works over the E chord is the E dominant 7 arpeggio. So I'll play that and then show it to you here. One more time. Well, I just one wrong note there. There it is. So what that is, again, and it's what I really like about this one is it's a pure dominant 7 arpeggio starting on the low E. So what I got here is open E, 4th fret, 2nd fret, open D. So that's like a forward roll, if you will, if you're using your pick. So that's open, and then we go pick, index, middle finger. Then I'm going to jump up to 7th fret on the A and do 7th, 6, open B string. Then we have 7th on the G, open E string. And this comes back up here, goes back to the up here to the dominant 7 triad, like that. So that's 13, 12, 10, 12. Now that's an Emil Ernebro lick I saw him do at the end of his little version of Jerry's Breakdown. You just played that online. You'll find it online if you punch in him and that song. Just playing it with a metronome. But at the very end, he did this dominant 7 arpeggio, and he explains it too. That's where I learned it. But he does it really quickly, and I think he does a bit of a different feel on it. But when I learned that, like I thought, that is really cool. So then what I did, and it didn't take too much analyzing to figure out if I want to convert that to a minor style. It's not a pure minor arpeggio at this point, but it's a minor lick that'll work over E minor. I just move the 3rd down to the minor 3rd. That part's okay. And then when I get up to here, so let me just play that for you by itself here. One more time. And backwards. Oops, sorry. Getting lost. And that's it there. So I'll show you that one. That's open E, then we go to 3rd fret, 2nd, open D string. So that's a forward roll. And that's how that becomes comfortable too. Forward rolls become quite easy to do after you get comfortable with them. So that's forward roll. Then I'm going to jump up to 7th fret and play the E, and then I'm just going to play a 9 note there. That's not pure E minor, but it's the 9 note. And that sounds pretty cool, and it's more comfortable for me to just do that. So I'm going to go up to the 4th fret and then open G. And then after that, so let me do that a little slower. There's our forward roll there. Open G. Then I go to D string on the 7th and then open B string. Then same thing, G string. 7th fret, open E, and then you have your final little triad here. And then I'm going to do a minor 7 note to there. So that would sound. Now backwards, I go to open E here. So I do the first little minor triad with the minor 7 note. Open, then the 7th. Open B, 7th, open G, then back to this 9th fret, or 9 note, open D. So let me do that backwards for you. And that's an E minor kind of lick. It's not a pure arpeggio, but it'll work in almost any E minor kind of thing you're doing. So that's the other one. Now, I'll also explain a little bit. You can also check out, I did another video a while ago where I covered mostly the D major open scale and also explained that D major, of course, is going to be E minor. Or, I'm sorry, yeah, B minor. So it's very handy to understand these relative keys too, because if you learn something really well in one key, you can apply it to the relative major or minor and it'll be just fine. So check that out if you're curious about the D major scale. And then I explain some other modes in there because, of course, just real quickly, D major open scale is also B minor. And then that also translates to a, let me think about this for a second. Oh yeah, that's also an E Dorian. So there's a lot of little things that you can see that are useful. If I'm playing E Dorian, I will also go ahead and play this D major scale because it's also E Dorian. But anyways, check that out if you're curious. So I'm going to explain here the a couple of just scales going up with open strings. I'll do D major or G major. Like that. And then I'm going to convert that real quick. There's one note we can change and make it A minor as well. So what that is the G note, open A string. Now when I get to the B here, I'm going to play the B note on the E and go to 3rd fret and then play an open D string. So that's do, re, mi, fa, sol. And then we get to 7th fret, play the 4th fret on the D, after that 7th on the A, and then open G string. So that's the first half of the scale right there. Then I get to 7th fret here. Now I'm going to change the picking a bit. I'm going to skip a string and go to open B. Then 2 notes on the G string, 3rd and 5th fret, then open E string, and then 2 notes on the B string to resolve it. So we have this. Like that. And that's really handy too when you want to quickly kind of get into certain little things and do them quickly. Again, the forward rolls become very easy to do after a while, so that's why they're very effective. So now if I take this same idea here and move this G major 7 down to here, that's really going to be now an A minor. So here's the A minor scale. I could also play it like this. Whoops. No, that's right. Yep. Like that. So I'm going to start on the G note here, but I'm going to play the exact same thing here as I did for G major. Now here, I want to reach to this F note, not the F sharp note there. Right. That's going to make that an A minor scale. And the picking, by the way, all the same thing. So here's the forward roll here, 7 and 3rd fret. And then again, 7 here, still going to be an open B, and still going to be 2 notes here, open E, but these 2 notes will be these 2 notes instead of the major scale. So that's our A minor. Now, again, I have to remind you, if you're using some relative majors and minors, A minor is going to be also C major. So that's the scale there. Now, if I do that open, you have that. I started on the C there, but you could even start a C major scale from the G note here and have the same result. So that's kind of where I think these become useful, is if you learn a couple really well, and then sit yourself down and go, okay, what is the relative say to the G major, and that is E minor. So this can also be something you can throw into an E minor kind of ad lib and vamp with the G major one. Or if I'm in A minor, I can do the A minor one. Or, of course, C major, I can do the A minor one. Just remember I'm in the key of C, which is, again, very useful. Now, another thing to point out here is if you're into even more of the modes, you may already know that A minor scale is G mixolydian. So that's really cool, too. If you're doing a G mixolydian thing, I'll just do an A minor type scale, or C major, whatever, however you want to look at it. But once I memorized the scale, I realized I can use that there as well. And then the other coolio kind of thing is, again, the relative Dorian to C major is D Dorian. So this would also work over D Dorian, as long as you're kind of accenting your root note of D. So that's where you can start getting more uses out of those. And you can figure out the relative modes to all of these. But I find the most common ones for me, scale-wise, are major, minor, pentatonic, of course, and my Dorian mode and my mixolydian mode, or dominant 7 mode. Those are the really most common scales I use. Harmonic minor's quite available to me too, but I think as far as modes go, that's the most common ones that I find being used and that I use myself, though I know there is others that get used as well. But I just go with a couple, 3 for these, just to explain that. So that's it. I just wanted to point out a couple of fun little licks to do with open strings that may be quite useful. So again, we have the harmonic minor from there, from here. Then we have the G major or E minor. That'll fit over. And then the A minor from the, I'm just doing it from the G note here, but if you were to do that just from the A, you'd start with an open A string. And do A minor, but I'll do the G here, or the A minor, or C major. Okay, then we have our dominant 7 arpeggio. Our minor style, I don't call it pure, it's not purely a minor arpeggio, but it's a minor lick. Whoops. Let's get those strings mixed up. Now, if you're so inclined, by the way, I got into trying to find more harmonic notes when I was watching Tim Hansen from Polyphia. That guy is amazing. He has a hybrid style, but he uses a pick. But he uses a lot of harmonics. So I found I can use those 12 frets to do this lick as well. Right? But going down, I find it a little, I stumble. But anyways, that's just a little observation as well. I can use those harmonics instead of the actual notes, especially for that E minor triad. It takes a little getting used to, but that's the idea there. So there's the arpeggios, generally speaking. So just have fun with those. I think if you pursue a few ideas and even come up with your own, you'll start realizing, you know, sometimes these are very easy to play because of the way we're using the right hand to do the picking. And there is many other applications that these can be used for. A good example of these open string licks is if you actually talk about the Jerry's breakdown lick. That's doing it slow. Right? That's a very good example of an open banjo style riff. And the little part in here, which I noticed, is a very much of a dominant mixolydian lick right from that. So even that itself, sometimes when I'm vamping over an A, it's available there in A mixolydian. But anyways, I won't yap on too much longer. I'll just let you kind of play around with those, and I'll play them again for you here on the outro. And I'll try to get some whatever tab I can put together so you can view that as well. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time, and try some open string licks. They're a lot of fun.